Okay, we got two more, I think, today for day three. We're going to get into lighting now with Lutron, RA3. We have our friends from High Tech Network that are going to help us present the new products from RA3. We have, I believe we have a tape light, Lumaris tape light demo to give away. Well, it's not a demo. We're actually going to give a kit away. So we'll get into that. There's some new products like the new Lumaris tape lighting, the RGB version. So we'll get into that. This is being recorded. We'll be on the virtual conference center. You guys get 50 points for being here. That these points can be applied towards products like Lutron. And make sure you check out the Lutron booth in our main hall. Get additional points for that. And we're going to start a poll here. If you guys can answer these questions, we would greatly appreciate it. And then we have Adam and Chris here going to answer your questions. Just go ahead and type them in the Q&A. So Jason Davis here is going to be doing our presentation. Thank you, Jason.
Yes, sir. I was reading the Q&A, so I was just laughing. Don't sing the Baby Shark song. I hear that enough at home, so I promise I won't.
Yeah. Yes.
So
they've been making fun of me all day with a couple of costumes, but
yeah. So good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully it's been an exciting day at the Roadshow, and it's going to get even more exciting. So for the next couple of minutes, we're going to talk about Lutron RA3 and Lumaris linear light kits, as well as a couple of just packages and overall discussion on lighting control. So let's get started. So first of all, RA3 is the latest. I mean, it's been out a couple of years now. The latest iteration of Lutron RA, which started many years ago. It allows you to, add lighting controls to any job, retrofit, renovation, or new construction. It works perfectly great for those applications as well. There's a great app, and it's a big fancy Lutron word, ingratiation with multiple industry partners. That means that there's an open protocol. So if you're using a control system, such as RTI, Control4, Alon, Crestron, or others, there's drivers to integrate the lighting seamlessly into that. Very beautiful, wide selection of different colors and satin and gloss finishes for the keypads and dimmers and switches and other devices. And, you can scale a RA3 system up to a couple hundred devices. So, versus, Caseta, where it's more limited. And then PC-based programming by a certified installer. So we can talk about the training process for any of you guys out there, or ladies who are not certified and would like to learn more or start selling the best lighting control products on the planet.
Yeah, because I mean, Caseta, we're selling Caseta. There's no real training involved with that. RA3, there's a process to it.
Yep. And I can spend we can spend like 2 minutes now on the differences. So Caseta, what you get with RA versus Caseta is more options for keypads. So in Caseta, your keypads are essentially picos. With RA, you get the Sonata keypads or the old, tried and true C-Touch keypads as different options for more flexibility and enhanced aesthetic. So the components, pretty much with the, RA, you're replacing devices. There are two families. Just let me hide that right there. So whatever that, let me just move that cursor. Sorry about that. In-wall switches and dimmers. That's basically their very limited or basic amount of components. You have a dimmer. That's for lights that you want to dim. The newest LED plus technology in the dimmers was really great with most, LED lights out there. So very compatible. You do. It's best to have a neutral. If there are other um, applications, the older house, we need to stick with the Maestro devices here. Single pole or multi-location, that's three ways. So in addition to the main dimmer or switch, there are what they call companion or remote dimmers that go with the other three locations. And there are also 4-speed fan controllers for if you're able to find a fan that works like an old fan and doesn't have the smart light kits. Those are becoming more difficult to source. um, so thank you, Chris, for answering a couple questions. Yep. So a raw processor
You bet.
can do 200 devices, and there's like a type A. For those of you that have done Radio Raw 2 before, there's a communication protocol called Clear Connect Type A, which is 243 or sorry 234 megahertz, sort of uses repeaters. And then the newer Raw 3 devices use a mesh on a 2.4 gigahertz, so the communication hops between each device. The beauty of the Raw 3 processor is that it is backwards compatible with all of the Raw 2 devices, as well as the newer devices. So you can upgrade existing projects, do newer projects. It's a very flexible solution. In addition to, keypads, or sorry, switches and dimmers and fan controls, there are keypads and hybrid keypads. So what a keypad is in the raw environment is a device. Either on the left, you see the C-Touch family, which is sort of a classic Lutron look, 6-button raise lower. Many of you know that. And then on the right, the new Sonata, which are a little more modern look, 2-button, 3-button raise lower, and 4-button. Regular Lutron keypads in an install they just need high voltage to them. And then there's something called a hybrid keypad, which actually is it's a keypad and a dimmer in the same device. So it can control a load behind it, a light, but also give you buttons that you can program to set scenes.
Hey, Jason, let me jump in just for some clarity on Type A and Type X, because we got a few questions going on. So the only Type X devices in the RA3 ecosystem are the Sonata keypads. So that's our new keypad. All the other keypads would be Type A. And then the new Lumaris tape light, which Jason's going to get to shortly. So everything else, your shades, your Picos, your C-Touch keypads, all of those are Type A devices. So if you have more than 100 Type A devices in a RA3 project, you're going to need 2 processors.
That's correct. And so
additionally, thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
There's a slide on that, like 2, and the next slide after this one. I'm going over those. But so in addition, for additional devices, you can use Pico remotes. Great application of a Pico is for like a tabletop keypad, or on the nightstand. So they make a little cool pedestal. Or if there's a location where they want a keypad and there's no wiring there to get to it, you can put a Pico and stick it on the wall and put a cover plate on it, and it looks like this. There are also wireless sensors, the ability to, the difference of lighting control. You can do things to, enhance your customers' experience with lighting in their home without having to press a button. So, for instance, great application in a powder room or a closet. You can put a wireless occupancy sensor in there, and when they walk in the room, they don't even have to hit the keypad or the dimmer on the wall. The light can turn on, and then you can do some programming where, as long as it sees movement, the light will stay on, and then when someone leaves the room and the sensor does not see movement, the light turns off. So, great ways to get creative and give a little extra sauce and value to your customers. There's the outdoor plug. You need the Radio Raw version of the outdoor plug. That's just, great applications for holiday lights, or, how people put the party lights on their patio and all that, things like that, to automate those, or landscape lighting transformers, things like that. There are RF modules. For instance, people might have a 0 to 10 volt light fixture. You can put this up there and add that communication, as well as shades, which tune in tomorrow. I think it's the same time, Mark, and we're going to talk about shading specifically.
Same bat time, same bat channel. That is correct, Jason.
Just you keep the Lutron time consistent, just like the Lutron product is consistent and works every time.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Before I get into Lumaris tape light, I'm going to just take a moment to pause. A couple questions here. Sonata dimmers are Type X as well. That is correct. So the new Sonata dimmers, switches, fan controllers, and Lumaris are all Type X devices. How does the new processor improve performance compared to RA2? New processor gives you the ability to use the Lumaris tape light and the what I think are better looking Sonata devices, and also it just uses the standard Lutron app. So it's a better, if the customer is using the app, a better experience there as well. Energy savings and sustainability. So there are, Fernando, there are a couple things. Energy savings. If you have a, smart dimmer, intelligent lighting from Lutron, you can set things, even something as simple as when the homeowner turns on the dimmer to turn the light on the room, it automatically goes to 60, 50% or whatever, so that it doesn't turn on to 100%. Now, of course, with modern LED technology, those save a lot of energy anyway, but this was, back when incandescent lights were available, this was huge, and you can still do that too. And also scheduling, or energy savings, occupancy sensors will, children's closets, things like that. If turn lights off if no one's in the room, that can save electricity and contribute to energy savings. So yeah, Chris, the ClickConnect Type X is a proprietary mesh, so it's not Zigbee or Z-Wave. That's Lutron's version. So it's the most reliable. No other devices besides Lutron can live in this mesh, just so that you can maintain the quality and reliability when your homeowners press the button. It's going to work every time. All right. Now, so at CEDIA in 2023, Lutron introduced Lumaris tunable white tape light. I guess quick, how many of you guys out there on this this session are doing linear lights, like under counter, toe kick, closet shelves, any of those sorts of things?
You have to give it a sec, Jason. It's
I will.
Like a second delay. So
yeah, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna just talk before. This is a pretty popular, and it's becoming a more popular thing. Application. Homeowners want it. Before, you could certainly integrate third-party tape light with Lutron Radio Raw. You're just having a switch or a dimmer go to the transformer or the driver for the linear light. But it
looks like most
hard.
are.
Yeah.
Looks like most are. Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. Lutron wanted to make that easier and give you a rock solid experience and something that is unique. So a lot of, previous tape light applications were just fixed color temperature. Lutron has two flavors of tunable white tape light and RGBW that instead of, if you were giving your customer tunable white tape light as part of the Lutron system before, they would almost have to go to a separate app to change the color temperature. Now we can do this natively in the Lutron app or from a keypad press. And it's super simple. You got basically a little controller that addresses to the Lutron system just like a dimmer or a switch. And then it connects. There's a transformer to provide power, goes to the controller. That controller goes to the light. So you can do these in a couple ways. You can remotely locate the power supply, or for a retrofit, you can just do it all right in. A lot of, like, for example, in a kitchen, use the outlet for the microwave, put the power supply and the controller up there, and then just run a little wire down the back of the cabinet and put it right in front of the cabinet. You can install it in 30 minutes. I have a little video. Hopefully sound works. Give you guys a little break from my voice here. Move this over here.
No, there's a chance that the sound might not work, but we'll find out. You turn it up on your end.
Does the sound work?
No, but we can read it.
It's just nice music. It's not saying anything. Just background music.
Oh, okay.
One.
All right, yeah, just keep doing that. Or I'll do the Baby Shark song. Oh, here's yeah, okay, here's.
Oh, these are pictures of the controllers here. I'll pause. You see, this is the controller for the tunable white, sort of doesn't do color. It's like if you've ever, it's a little, I call it a popsicle stick, about 5 inches long and, maybe a ½ inch deep, so it can screw right below a cabinet. So this goes to a power supply. This goes to the tape. And then this device here is RF, and it talks just like a raw dimmer or switch to the system. And then right from the app or from a keypad press, you can tell it what to do. For the new RGBW that launched this year CEDIA, the controller is a little larger because it's got a 6-conductor wire. But both of these are seamless integration and allow you to do some pretty awesome things.
Hey, Jason, we got one question here in the chat that I'm personally not 100% certain of. So,
Okay.
So the question was, will there ever be a way to utilize an occupancy sensor or motion to turn on a light at 50% at certain times of the day, rather than just turning it on to 100%? So I'm not sure you can program that sequence in RAW. That might be a homeworks only, but do you know?
So in sort of time of day, scheduling for conditionals, that's a homework thing.
Yep, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, here's the RGB.
So I know it's kind of small, but that's the Lutron app for the RGBW. And you see where you can adjust the colors if you're doing, or the color temperature and intensity as well. And then a question about 21st carrying this.
Yes.
Yes. So the tunable white Lumaris tape light that
we have
is tunable white, those kits are in stock. The RGBW is a new product. There are a la carte components on the 21st website. As soon as the new power supplies are available, there will be kits and 21st will have them in stock and easy to use. If you have any questions or you want to spec a job with those in the near term, then reach out to one of us, Chris or Adam, or myself, or your salesperson at the branch, and they can reach out to us, so we get me, and we can help them get you a quote for that.
So it is like a color wheel, Jason, just looking at that. Yeah. Now again, this is RG, is it RGB or is it RGBW?
So RGBW, so it's tunable white as well as the colors, so either or. So you can do on the white, like the tunable white side, it goes from 1800 to 4000 Kelvin on the RGBW.
Got it. Thank you.
So it's a lot of times the tunable white was that's great for applications, bathrooms, in the kitchen, but a lot of dealers have asked for the RGB version because you like to do cool things, linear lighting in theaters or behind TVs, things like that, where you need that color pop to make something awesome. And so that's available now. Someone asked about COB. So this is not a COB tape like continual, but there is extrusion that is and Lutron has started selling extrusion. We're working with 21st to get that up on the site as well. Comes in like 8 feet tape. There's about 8 versions of that. If you don't, extrusion is like basically an aluminum channel with a diffuser on the front that makes it look really nice. If it's under a lip on a kitchen cabinet or inside of a closet, so you don't just have the tape there. Also helps with heat dissipation on the back because the aluminum acts as a heat sink. So that's to make it look really nice. You can pair it with extrusion or any other extrusion that you may have. It's basically comes in 8 feet sections, and you can just cut it as you need and pop it in there. So kit available in the near future. I'm anticipating about another month. So around late November, mid-December. So that's sort of the main hardware that's out in the house as far as a raw system. The other component that's necessary for a system. I see a couple questions here. We were talking about extrusion. Greg, there are mud in pre-construction extrusion channels available. Yes, sir. How soon until RAW 4? So I tell you that, it was probably 10 years from the original Radio Raw when Radio Raw 2 came out, and probably another 10 years since then. So RAW 3 is a year or two. So we're not.
So we'll be retired.
Yeah, maybe retired, or I might not have any hair, or it'll be fully gray. Or I mean, I would also be, I haven't heard anything from Lutron even talking about Radio Raw 4, but when the Radio Raw 3 came out, the processor is backwards compatible with all Radio Raw 2 devices. So it would probably be a really good assumption that any new processor that comes out would be the same. It's the beauty of Lutron products is they last a long time. I probably talk to half a dozen homeowners every week or dealers that the system has been in for 20 years sometimes it's the plastic is faded and they want to get replacement engraving kits for the older keypads. So if there's one thing you can hang your hat on, it's, well, two things. Number one, 21st Century is an awesome partner. Number two, Lutron is going to be reliable. When you press the button, it's going to work. So the processor, it's a little, basically a little computer and a round disk. They make some accessories to mount it to a ceiling, and it's PoE. So the RA3 processor doesn't have a, it comes with a PoE injector, but it has to sit on the network because you program it with your laptop. Auxiliary repeaters, if you're using shades, picos, any Clear Connect Type A device, so RA2, dimmers, switches, or keypads, and a device is further than 30 feet from the processor, you need a repeater. They just plug right in to power, and it extends the range. There's Lutron Designer. If you are already RA3 certified, you have this. If you are not, and you do training, part of the training is downloading the software, and we'll be having some trainings coming up if you're interested. You'll spend an entire day with me. Hopefully that'll be fun. And then there's Lutron app. So I saw a question earlier, can you access the system remotely with the app? And the answer is yes. All right, so here is to get into just a little more detail about Clear Connect Type A and X. And the RA3 processor has both of these radios in it. So one processor works with both families of products seamlessly. Clear Connect Type A, 434 megahertz. I would say 433. That's probably old DSC security sensors back in the day. The Maestro controls, those are the dimmers that have the little green lights on the side. Pico remotes, occupancy sensors, the plug-in devices, such as lamp dimmers or outdoor dimmers, and the C-Touch keypads. You can do 99 Clear Connect Type A devices on a processor. Clear Connect Type X is 2.4 gigahertz of proprietary mesh, like we talked about, all of the new Sonata devices. The reason, one of the biggest tenets of Lutron is reliability, making sure that it's easy to install and works. So I know mesh networking has been around, Zigbee, Z-Wave for years. Some of the early devices, you probably have experienced your own personal challenges with, mesh networking 10 years ago. When Lutron perfected it, where it's going to work seamlessly, they integrate into their products. So next, that's sort of a basic high level about the different pieces of hardware you need for a system. We're next going to sort of shift to talk about some packages. When you think about lighting control, lots of people want to sell it and specify it in the entire house. So sometimes homeowners may have a more limited budget. So what we want to talk about now is how you can get a smaller system in on a limited budget and show your homeowners that experience. And I can tell you that once people get a taste of it, they are going to most likely want to add more devices down the road. So it might be a month or 3 months. At some point, they're going to be like, I need to control these other lights. And the beauty of Radio Raw is that if they have a house with 5 dimmers in the wall and a keypad, you can just go replace a dimmer or 10, hopefully 20 or 30, because that's a nice order. a nice sale for you, and easily add it and program it and give them lighting control, intelligent lighting in more rooms in the house. Do the kitchen first. Dabib, that's good advice. Kitchen. I would always, when you talk to your homeowners, you can learn about what they're into or what's important to them. Some people, it's security. Another way to start is outdoor lights, the garage coach lights, or the front porch, so that you can do scheduling at sunset. Those lights come on, so they never come home to a dark house. And then from, you can also turn those lights off at 11 p.m. or 9 p.m. if you go to bed early, like me. I can't see everybody's faces. Hopefully, at least one person laughed at that.
I smirked, Jason.
You're just nervous the shark's eating you.
Yeah.
So here are a couple of examples of less than $2,000 retail price packages with RA3. So the first is just a couple of dimmers and keypads. This could even be, if you're doing any work with builders, a starter package that you can get the builder to put in the home. So like Dabib said, kitchen and living room. So for around $2,000 retail price, you get a processor, 3 dimmers, and 2 hybrid keypads. So that lets you have 2 locations where you can set scenes, personalized scenes, as well as 3 other, locations for just a dimmer. The homeowner gets the app. They can do scheduling, auto off timer, remote access. You can, if they have their Google or Alexas, you can integrate it with that so they can have voice control. And then if you're in the kitchen, you could get them to add Lumaris for their under cabinet lighting or toe kick. And then once they have a little taste in the kitchen and living room, maybe you can get the bedroom.
Got a question here, Jason, that I don't know the answer to. Any exterior motion sensors that can turn on a RA3 device? Are there exterior motion sensors? I don't think we do.
That's a the Rated Raw motion sensors are not outdoor rated. So if you had a third party motion sensor for outside, you could take that contact closure that device it has and go into a sensor like a visor control, where you have an input and trigger something.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So if I didn't explain enough, here's a picture of that said kitchen. So, this is my kitchen. I wish my kitchen's not that nice. So over here at the entry to the kitchen, there's a keypad that's a hybrid. So it could be controlling these recessed lights. And then you have a dimmer over here for the pendants. Actually, in this example, they had just a and then they have lamps. And then in the breakfast area, dining room, there's another device for, this pendant, and then the other recessed lights. So that's a nice, for $2,000, you can deliver a nice, elegant solution that, enhances the life of, your customers. So low voltage plug and play. If you don't even have, so, technically within the law, I'm pretty sure that all of you or most of you have put in a dimmer, even if you're, an integrator. Well, I'm on camera, but I probably did it too in the years and years ago. But even if you come in after the fact, you can deploy a radio raw system without replacing devices on the wall. There are devices such as lamp dimmers, outdoor plugs, and picos, and Lumaris tape light that all you have to do is plug into the wall. So here's a little example of just a low voltage plug and play system that's still around $2,000 retail price. So these devices here are lamp dimmers. Plug it in the wall, plug the lamp in right here, address it to the system, and off you go. You can do the landscape lights, or maybe they have a fountain that you want to turn on and off with the keypad inside, as well as under counter or in the closet, or if the living room has nice shelves where books or some pieces of art or pictures, you can light those shelves as well. Any questions about that type of sort of basic package? Headboard lights. Never really thought about that one. I think it would be really cool to use the new RGBW, if they want to have some, just romantic colors.
I don't know where you're going with that, but okay.
And then here are the party lights we talked about. Those are extremely popular. You can integrate them into a system so that when your customer goes outside to, hit up the grill or have some Pellegrino, they can just use their phone or a keypad to turn those on instead of having to go bend over and plug them in. Any other questions? I'm just taking a second to look at the questions.
Claro Smart Accessory Dimmer.
That's so the Claros and Caseta. They're the Claro and the Diva. The Bib, I'll send you some different spec sheets and all that.
I know we have the Claro Smart Accessory Switch, but I'm not sure we have a smart dimmer. But a Pico can accomplish that task too.
Yeah. I think the remote one is just a turns on and off. There's not, or it's a manual sort of slider. It doesn't have like the electronics on it. So, did we get our poll off there, Mark?
Yeah. This would be a good time to talk about that. Do you have a Lutron Pro account? Looks like it's like 60-30. Well, 57%, 38%. 57% yes, 36% no, 7% I'm not sure. So probably want to talk about that, getting the Lutron Pro account. So especially what we're going to talk about tomorrow.
Exactly. So what a Lutron Pro number is basically, even though you buy from 21st, they're your source for the equipment. If you have a Pro number and you can get access to something called My Lutron, where you can basically sort of keep track of your different projects in the designer. It will give a way to sort of track any cases under sort of one account. If you call into Lutron tech support and need help setting something up, things like that. And you also earn Pro points, which for systems you activate, which you can get things. But the big benefit is being able to, have a login to a Lutron website where you can get resources. And then also tomorrow at 4 p.m., we're going to talk about some new Triathlon Select shades from Lutron, automated roller shades that it will give you a way to go in and quote shades and then order them from your distributor.
Without having to be, I guess,
Yes.
quote unquote shade certified, but you
Correct.
will need a Lutron Pro account. The next one is, are you Lutron Radio RA3 certified? It looks like 60% ish are not, 36% are yes, and 9% not sure. So this would be a good segue into the third question. If you'd like to be certified, do you prefer in-person or webinars? And it looks like it's 36% webinar, 18% in person, and then 47% I'll do either. So maybe we could work out.
Yeah.
We're going to have live trainings throughout our territory, 21st Century, next year. I think we're scheduling to do one in each from each location.
I think
Q1.
6. Yeah, in
Yeah.
Q1. So there are 2 ways to be RA3 certified if you're not already. One is to go create, become a Lutron Pro, sign up for something called LCI, which is Lighting Control Institute. So you can go online and take a self-paced sort of course that goes over in more detail the hardware, how to program it, and then there's a 74 question multiple choice test that makes sure you understand what you learned, and then you're certified. This is even for those of you that are already certified, if you have employees that need to learn the basics and get the software, a great tool for them. Also, we do these in person, which it's all day. I love doing these because it lets me talk about and answer your questions that you might have. And we can talk about things like strategy for programming keypads, things like that. Like, do you have buttons for the different lights in the room, or do you create meaningful personalized scenes? And it usually leads to some great discussion there. And it lets us, anytime you have a room with 20 people, there's great questions. And, even if you're already certified, people come to these trainings and everybody will learn at least one thing. So those are the 2 ways. And then when we do these in-person trainings at the end, I always everybody takes the test together, because the purpose of the test is not to, be a test. This isn't, high school or college. It's to make sure that you understand the main concepts so that you can be successful. Because that's what we want to be here. 21st, Lutron, High Tech, the reps, Orion, the Lutron reps in Florida. We want to make sure that you can easily deploy great intelligent lighting solutions for your customers and, sell more. Let's have a poll question. Is anyone allergic to selling more?
Absolutely not. Hey, Jason, we had a question on the Pro account. Can you add technicians to your Pro account? I believe the answer is yes.
Absolutely. So when you have a Pro account, that's another, I totally admit, this is a valuable reason to have a Pro account. So when you have a Pro account, that's an account number with Lutron. And so then you get something, each technician can get something called a My Lutron login. And whenever they get that mylutron.com login, when they sign up, they enter that Pro number. And so all of your technicians are linked to the main account. And another thing this does is with the new designer software, it's cloud-based sort of backup of your projects, so that any technician and you can set these permissions and which sort of projects you can let them see all the projects or assign projects to them. That's up to you. But it lets, if you have, John, technician A, he deploys a project, and then Steven needs to go back 6 months later and service it. When he opens his Lutron Designer, it'll show your company projects, and he can just connect and have the latest version. Years past, when this was a manual backup process, you had to save the backup of the processor, and then you did some programming changes, and someone connected to the system with an older version, and those programming changes didn't happen anymore. It was just, dealers would get creative and have shared Dropboxes or Google Drives. But this just makes it easy to where everybody can see the revisions of the program and gives you ability to provide better service for your customers.
And if that technician should leave the company, can't you also remove their privileges from that pro account because of two-factor authentication?
Absolutely.
Any exterior motion sensors that can turn on RA3 devices, or do we have to use a third party?
We brought that one up earlier. Yeah, we don't make an outdoor one. So Lutron doesn't. You would have to use a third party solution for that.
Okay.
There's the ability to, trigger an event with like a contact closure. So there's ways to do that. If not, get Eero. I like that.
All right, so we're gonna raffle something off, or are we almost done?
That's I'm just here. Any questions? I could talk for hours, but if I'll leave with something, it's don't be starting small with a processor and 2 devices, and giving your customer something cool that doesn't cost a lot of money. I knew a dealer one time that whenever he did a theater, he would just put dimmers in the room and a little processor. Cost him a couple $100. I'm sure he found a way to get it into the proposal price, but probably, I don't want to say 100%, but I'll say 99% of the time, the customer is like, wow, this is really cool. The ability to have some control for my lights and make a scene led to other rooms of the house. So it's a great sort of gateway to get your customers to expand and create repeat business.
Very good. Thank you, Jason. Really appreciate the high-tech team walking us through RA3. Just doing a quick look through here. Will Shidnick will be the winner of the RGB, or not the RGB, we're going to just do the standard tunable white tape light because we don't have the RGB. So kit, that is. So we're doing the Lumaris kit for Will Shidnick. I just sent you information to email me. Yeah, really appreciate you guys. Join us tomorrow as we're going to go over Lutron shades. As Jason touched on, we're also going to be doing the new Triathlon Select. They were just released at CEDIA. So make sure you guys join us for that. Really appreciate you guys walking us through this, and appreciate you guys doing the poll question as well. So we'll be reaching out to you guys who do not have a Lutron Pro account. So that's going to be important, especially if you want to sell the shades. And then, of course, if you want to get RA3 certified, we'll have live trainings in Q1 of next year. And of course, you can take the training online as well.
Yeah, and if you attend one of those trainings in the Carolinas, I'll see you there.
That's right. Thank you, Jason, Adam, Chris. Really appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, see you the last training. Oh, everybody, by the way, I believe our food court was just reopened. So if you haven't gotten your gift card from Grubhub, try to go ahead and you can do that now. There's I believe right, Sean? We good?
It should be working. Yes, we tested
Okay.
it. I called a few dealers personally. They said it's working. So, yeah,
Okay.
should be good to go.
All right. Thank you, everybody. See you at the last.